Welcome to She Sells Radio. I am so excited for today's conversation with a beautiful human being, a client, a friend, an amazing mom and wife, a powerful career woman. And this woman has made huge quantum leaps in her life and some really bold and powerful moves to devote her career to changing the startup and the sales world and to really be a champion of mental health and well-being of everyone involved in the organization that she supports, as well as to really change the way that we do sales to be far more ethical and far more inclusive as well. And so you're going to hear from my guest momentarily, Ashlie Collins. We are so excited to have you. But I'm going to share just a bit of her background first so you know who she is, what she's all about, and then we're going to get into a really great conversation. So, with over 15 years in sales and startup executive roles, Ashlie witnessed firsthand that the role of the leader is lonely and riddled with mental health landmines that affect every area of the business. She's on a mission to heal the way we work and shift the entire scene from the top down. After serving as a two times founding team member, living through her life after exit and launching a platform to self-sustainability in Europe, there isn't much she hasn't seen or experienced the aftermath of, both positive and negative at this point. And she founded Humane Startup, a coaching, training, and consultancy organization where she combines her in-field experience and therapeutic training to empower leaders to achieve hypergrowth, to be the force of the change they want to be, and to feel good doing it and beyond. Ashlie, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome to She Sells Radio.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know there's so much that we're going to get into today. And so I think the biggest opportunity for us is going to be staying on time because there's a lot I want to cover with you. So I know today's going to be really fun because not only are we going to talk about Humane Startup and what you're doing and how people can start to incorporate some of these principles into their own organization. We're also going to be doing some live coaching, and we don't have that pre-planned, which is also really fun, but people will get to hear kind of behind the scenes of coaching. And I think every top performer and top producer gets coached. So I'm excited to, have the opportunity to, well, we're going to go wherever it goes and hopefully help you solve some challenges or
Absolutely.
achieve some good outcomes. So, I think we get a glimpse of your background and your journey through that bio, but I know there's been so much in terms of your own experience in the startup world, in the sales world, that prompted the creation of the Humane Startup and your new app, Startup Therapy. So share as much as you want to, slash, as much as we have time for today, just about like your background and what prompted you to launch this brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So the journey for me really started about 12 years ago when I followed two very dear friends out of a cushy corporate job to found our first company. And I went into that with a complete beginner's mindset and really no understanding of what I was in for. Very, very
Right.
naive a move on my part. And it was, I'm only really beginning to truly appreciate what a phenomenal experience that was. We bootstrapped that company. We sold it for 10 times revenue in 18 months to Indeed. Um, and it was intense. Like I didn't
Yeah.
at the time didn't really realize that that's not like how this went for every startup who was
Yeah.
just setting out. And we ticked a lot of the boxes for success. We had financial success. Many of us stayed on post acquisition to launch some pretty powerful careers with the acquiring company. But both myself and a few others in the co-founding team, we it was almost like a congratulations, here's your existential crisis moment for us because we
Uh,
had
mm,
anchored so much of our purpose in the success of this company, and we really hadn't thought about what happened after that.
wow. Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
um and each one of us handled it in different ways, and it was at this time that I was introduced to the concept of something called gold medal syndrome. So this is something that Olympic athletes, high performance athletes experience as well, where you've got this really big goal that you've set for yourself, and then once you achieve it, achieve it, it's sort of like anticlimactic
Right.
because you
Right.
haven't really anchored into a larger vision or a larger purpose. And so that kind of put me on a 10-year path to really trying to better understand myself, to protect my friends. And I did stay on with the organization that acquired us for 5 years in an executive capacity. I relocated to the UK with them, and it was a phenomenal experience. And I ultimately left that organization to found a second company with that same team. And very different set of circumstances. We'd all grown a lot. Some of our attitudes had shifted quite substantially since the sale of the first company. Um, and and there were, some sad moments. You saw some relationships really suffer on the back of us maybe not doing some of the deep inner work. We had, across a couple of us, we had some pretty profound health impacts that started to creep up as we, were sort of using numbing or escape mechanisms to deal with what we were, or not deal with what we were
Sure.
feeling inside.
Yeah.
And it got all a bit much, and so I kind of jumped ship and went
Mm.
somewhere that felt a bit safer. And as I navigated that process, I sort of had this epiphany moment where I was like, why wouldn't I just explore putting truly therapeutic practices around supporting founding team members just like me, so that this doesn't significantly shift who we are as people, that it doesn't come with all of these side effects and consequences. And a lot of it was driven by loneliness, not feeling like you had anybody to call when the chips were down. At that time, I hadn't worked with any coaches myself,
Mm.
and so I'd been trying to tackle things on my own. And the acquiring company actually had coaches on staff that they provided to their leaders, which I think is a very bold move. I love
That's
that. And so that
great.
really introduced me to this world of coaching, and also some of the modalities and practices that I now bring into my work. But it's really a mission driven by personal experience and witnessing the journey of some people that I really, really care about.
Wow. It's so interesting, like just kind of putting myself in your shoes and thinking about the behind the scenes of that energy in the startup, right? And I've been a part of multiple startups. I've been part of one that was like right from the ground floor. Obviously, I've started up my own, and it's like everyone's journey is a little bit different. But to think about, the pressure that's felt, the way it's so easy, I'm sure, just to like totally throw yourself into your work and forget about family, forget about health, forget about all of it. And then it's kind of like, what's the coming up for air after the acquisition, or after it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, or whatever. And who are you? Where has your life taken you? And I would imagine like you just feel disconnected from yourself, from your truth. Like in so many ways, it seems like you can get off center with that. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
I think for all of us, if we had had the kind of support that I'm looking to plug a gap for now, it could have
right.
felt a lot different for all of us. Like really being
Mhm.
clear on why we were deciding to get into hashtag startup life,
Right.
to begin with, felt more anchored into that vision and purpose, so that we didn't hand over our agency and our power too soon. I think we made some good calls in some areas, particularly around how we did or did not decide to raise funds to
Mhm.
control like our product, and making sure that all of that stayed on point. But I think that's one of the things that I see happen so frequently with founders, and revenue generators. I think particularly in a startup environment, as a revenue generator, you play such a pivotal role in the success of the business,
Mhm.
and you do end up carrying a lot of the pressure, whether you're part of the co-founding team, or not. And so you start making decisions out of alignment with your values and your purpose, because you're buckling under that pressure, and
Mm.
you're not really clear on your mind what that why is. and what those values are. And so it can be very easy to sort of make conflicting priority decisions. And that's where some of
Right.
those, not so fun things, start to crop up.
What does it mean to you to be a humane startup?
What does it mean to be here?
To be a humane startup, like what is
Oh,
your
yeah.
definition of a humane startup? What does that look like to you?
Yeah, for me, it is about caring quite simply about more than just profitability.
Mm.
I am not anti money by any stretch of
You're
the
here in She Sells world. We love money. We love making
imagination.
money. I mean, we're
You
not
know,
mad at it, right?
I do. I love wealth. I love power. I love
Yep.
influence.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that there are different things that we can do with wealth, power, and influence. And I think for me, at its absolute core, it's about rejecting the idea that the only thing that matters are your shareholders and your investors, and
Mm.
really thinking about the extended impact of your business and the good that it can do for the planet, for your community, for the workers that you can employ, and really fortify to ensure that you stay the course even when the pressure's high, because the reality is it's going to be high most of the time. But that doesn't have to feel bad. You can sustain that, and
Hmm.
you can bring an approach and processes and methods to conducting business that allow you to flow through those external influencers without handing over your power and your agency and being the force of change that you set out to be. And I feel like there's never been a better time to start to carve out your own path for how you want to do this.
Hmm.
You look at, I'm a big fan of B corporations. The fact that they even exist
Yeah.
is phenomenal, and the numbers are growing substantially year on year. We've got over 700 of them now in the UK, employing over 43,000 people. That's a huge
Amazing.
impact, right? And I think that society is demanding more from leadership, whether that's in the private sector or in the public sector. And you're starting to see a lot more, cross-channel collaboration across these groups to ensure that we're having the impact that we set out to have. And business can really be a phenomenal force for good if we
Mm.
let it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I couldn't agree more. And I'm curious to hear a little bit because obviously you have a whole methodology that you teach and it's more than we're going to be able to cover today, but you talked about, in your own life some practices that you implemented to help with mental health, to help with well-being, to help with focusing on the whole person outside of just bottom line. And I know these are things that you probably teach startup founders and leaders to do as well. What are maybe like 1 to 2 things that you think every startup leader or startup revenue producer should be focusing on to help them to help them stay whole through that process, for lack of better words?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the most powerful tools that I put in my toolkit was acceptance and commitment therapy,
Hmm.
and working within a framework. And one of the first things that you do when you're sort of moving through that process is to define your core values, and then look, which is a really challenging, that sounds so much easier than
Yeah.
it actually is, to narrow down like the 3 things that you actually care about, not that you think you should care about, or and like crossing some things off that list, like that brings up some stuff.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
But getting clear on those 3, really clear on those 3, and then it gives you almost a decision making framework, right? You're either making moves towards becoming the person that you want to be based on those values, or away from the person that you want to
Hmm.
be based on those values. And it just really simplifies that process, especially when external factors can feel a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then the next piece of that is conducting routine check-ins on those things across all of your life areas. And there are a bunch of different frameworks for that. I particularly work with 12 different life areas that I routinely check in on, and I calculate a concern score for those.
Hmm.
So I
Mhm.
go through and I look on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that life area to me, that value domain to me? And then how much energy and attention and action am I giving that right now? I calculate the delta and I try to do that around every 30 days. And then, some things pop up like, maybe some of the not so fun thoughts and feelings that I'm having right now are because I have this area of my life that's really important that I'm neglecting. So I need to recalibrate some things and focus some energy here. And I think that whoever you are, that's a valuable framework for you. I think as a leader, it's really important to get those things right, because as the impact of your decisions is quite substantial, right? And so being able to check in and just make sure that you're cutting back on those away moves, we're clear on our values, and we're routinely checking in on how we're doing across, because our internal world reflects out into our external world, and then that has an impact on society and our employees and and the planet, depending on what area of business we're in. So I would say that's probably been the most valuable foundation I've put in place for myself. And it's something I work on from jump with my clients.
That's so powerful. I remember there was a time in my life where someone asked me, like, what do you do for fun? And I remember at the time I was so it was, my career was it was all I did: eat, breathe, sleep. And I was like, what do I do for fun? And I had no idea what I like to do.
Do I even have fun?
It was a very sobering and kind of embarrassing moment to think I haven't thought about this for years. And I think I would imagine that people can relate to that to some level. Like when you're really in it with your career, and whether you're in a high pressure sales role or whether you're leading a company, it's so easy to just get all consumed in this one of 12 areas of your life, right? But work is so much better and easier when we're focusing on the other areas. And yeah.
And it's always amazed me. It's been like one of the great philosophical questions that I've had is like, why do leaders not encourage their teams to cultivate this in their own life? Because preventing workaholism from creeping into your team only benefits your productivity. It only benefits your revenue. There's so much research behind this now. But there's still I still catch a lot of folks working against their own best interest out of fear and out of thoughts of scarcity. Like I've got to double down on the hours. I've got to work with these finite resources. I've got to do these things, not realizing that you can just increase folks' capacity, and then they'll have more time to do the things that they love and bring a completely different energy to their work. So it's really remarkable. And everybody wins when we create this space for humans to be humans and to fill their life with joy.
Oh, yeah. I love that so much. Take a moment, and we're going to go into coaching in a minute, but take a moment, and I'd love if you could share a little bit about Startup Therapy, this new app that you have coming out. And I know we're like, it's sometime soon from the release of this, the app gods are, I don't know. This episode will air before then, but soon it will be coming out. So share a little bit about this. This is so exciting.
Oh, this is my baby. I am so excited for this. What I really wanted to do was make a therapeutic community available to startup founders and their teams, regardless of where they are in their life cycle. I know it can be tough, and you've got to be mindful of how resources are allocated in the early days. And so I just wanted to ensure that I could reach as many folks in the startup community as I possibly could, provide them with one-on-one coaching options, with self-paced courses, digital tools and resources for journaling and completing evidence-based exercises to just navigate this journey with a sense of inner peace and pull on the resources that they need when they need them and at the right time. And so that's really what startup therapy is designed to be. There is a free community that you can join just so that you have folks to communicate with that relate to the experiences that you're having. You will also be able to, the first course we will launch will be a 7-day challenge that will be completely free for folks to take.
Amazing.
And it is based on acceptance and commitment therapy, just because I felt that has been such a powerful thing for me, that I feel the more people, the more folks that I can equip with those tools, the better the business world will become fast. And then there will be some follow-on, more extensive 12-week courses that will come through that. And then you can also engage me in private coaching directly from the app as well. So it's sort of your home hub for, for all things startup therapy related.
So exciting. I love the concept. I love the model. I love how accessible it is. So that will be out at some point soon. And we're so excited. I can't wait to check it out. That's incredible. So, I think this is part of what makes you a great coach, is that you came into this episode and you said, I want to be coached. And you said, I don't have a specific agenda. I don't have like a specific question for you, but I want to be coached to demonstrate the power of coaching. So I think that's what makes a phenomenal coach is they get the power of it and they're open. So, so you're at my mercy now in the best way.
It's like my favorite place to be, Elise.
Well, so here's what I think would be fun. So we don't have an agenda here. We haven't pre-planned anything, but I think this will be a good start. So let's say you and I are meeting again, hopefully for Yorkshire pudding in London in a year or something really lovely like that. But it's a year from now, we're meeting and we are celebrating that you've just had the most phenomenal year of your career, the most phenomenal year of your life. Everything you could imagine has happened, no consequences or limitations. So what does that look like for you?
We've got well over 1 million users that have downloaded the Startup Therapy app.
Okay.
Our home in Raleigh is paid off, and we are using that as a proper second home for the family to enjoy.
Amazing.
And splitting time between the US and the UK. We've completed all of the renovations on our house here. And we're taking one phenomenal family full-on family holiday per term over the half-term breaks together.
Where did you go on your trip? Where was your phenomenal full-term vacation that we're celebrating that you took?
The next one will be to the Maldives, hands down.
Beautiful. Okay.
Just dying to stay in one of those overwater bungalows with a private kiss.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So you just got back from the Maldives. You stayed in an overwater bungalow. Beautiful. Okay. And then anything else?
I'll also be driving my new G-Wagon.
Ooh. Yes, like I said, we're not mad at money on this show. So driving G-Wagon. Love it. Okay. Anything else?
Oh gosh. I think, absolutely Sebastian, my eldest son, will be fully recovered from his most recent operation and back to his sporty life as an 11-year-old boy, playing with his brother in the back garden, which is something that I haven't been able to see in almost 3 years.
Wow.
So very much so looking forward to that. I think also would love to get my book out into the world that has been hiding behind the scenes for quite some time.
Okay, so you're a published author. Incredible. Okay. And the book has come out this time next year?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, what else?
And I would like to be on the Forbes top coaches. I'm on the Forbes top coaches list.
Great. Okay, beautiful. Anything else?
No, not for now.
Okay, this is a good start. So just to recap, so we're celebrating, maybe we're meeting at your home in Raleigh because then we're like neighbors, which is really fun. But so we're celebrating that you've had 1 million users who have downloaded Startup Therapy. Your home in Raleigh is paid off. You're splitting time between the US and the UK. Renovations are completed on your house in the UK. You just got back from this incredible vacation in the Maldives. You have a beautiful tan, and I'm super jealous, and you're looking amazing. You are driving your G-Wagon, which I love. Your son is fully recovered from his operation, playing with his brother again in the backyard. Your book is out in the world, and you're on the Forbes top coaches list. So this is good. This
This is
is like,
good.
we're really celebrating. Okay, beautiful. So as you think forward to that time, and sometimes it's helpful to even like close your eyes and go within and just really connect with that. And I know you're someone who connects with your vision quite a bit. So, this may come up right away, but if it doesn't, that's fine too. But what is what is the biggest question you have right now about how to get there? What feels like the biggest obstacle or hurdle that you're bumping up against for this vision to truly become a reality for you?
Yeah, and this comes up for me at each stage of my journey. I grapple with this in a different way, and
Mhm.
it is that self trust.
Okay. Hmm.
Can Is this really for me? This little girl from Northwest Indiana,
Hmm.
who's a first gen university graduate. Can I really do this? Is this for me? And I know the logical answer to that,
Sure.
but those are the tough thoughts and feelings that come up in new ways.
Hmm. Hmm.
Each time I hit that next phase.
Yeah. And we'll take an aside and then we'll talk about that. I appreciate you sharing that because I think for everyone who's really doing it, right? And for all of your clients too, who are leading these companies and who everyone's looking to as the leader, like everyone has that come up. Everyone has this little part of them that's like, am I qualified? Is this for me? Like, really? People are answering to me about this, right? So we all have it. So I appreciate you verbalizing that. Let me ask you this. So, what part of you is the part that questions whether this is truly for you and whether you can trust this vision?
Oh, girl, we know that's that scared little girl inside.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Yeah. And are you comfortable talking about it? Because this
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. I think it's
Hmm.
important to be open. I think part of the reason that leaders feel so lonely is that we pretend that we're not, experiencing this, but we're just as human as the person next to us. So yeah, I'm an
Right.
open book here.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not going to get into like a full blown inner child piece here, but this is, I think, recognizing like, oh, that's the little version of
Hmm.
Ashlie, right? That's young Ashlie
Yeah.
who's not trusting. About how old was young Ashlie when she stopped trusting herself? We're not going to go like deep into details here, so don't worry, but just give me an
I would say
age.
9.
9. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Um, what is young Ashlie concerned about in terms of this vision? What is 9-year-old Ashlie concerned about in terms of this vision?
Not executing perfectly,
Mm.
not
Hmm.
being perfect,
Not being perfect.
and not being better than everyone else.
Mm. Mhm. So I
So,
think that's really, go ahead. Mhm.
no, I just, in the spirit of full transparency, I think that's always been. I've have a history of seeking validation by being number one, getting it done
Mhm.
faster, you know, 4 times more, with it, just doing a
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
I've never allowed that to be, because it's almost like an addiction to that praise of,
Totally.
can't, oh my gosh, can you believe she did this?
Yeah.
She did this thing. And so that's been something that I am working on a lot, is
Yeah.
just being okay with the pace at which things go.
Mm.
Um, and and recognizing that however it goes is perfect.
Wow. I love that. And I appreciate you sharing that too, because I think, again, so many people can relate to that. And there's a lot of leaders who are subconsciously operating with that paradigm and not even realizing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, that at least you recognize that, and you can be conscious of going into this. Those are kind of the two things that I want to be cognizant of when they come up. So that need for perfectionism, and then that need for like, this has to be better than everyone, right? So it's validation, number one, yada, yada. So noticing that part of you. So, I mean, what's going to happen if we let little Ashlie lead the growth of startup therapy?
I'm going to start projecting all sorts of things onto my extended team as I translate that pressure onto them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of like what's powerful about what you're sharing here is it's what you're helping to coach other people on too, right? It's the same. So you get to be conscious of that in your own journey. I think, what would it look like to show her examples, and what does she need to see in terms of examples where companies have been very successful, very profitable, very impactful, and it hasn't been perfect? And maybe they weren't number one when they started, right? Like maybe it was more of a slow burn, but what sort of, like even just thinking of people, and you have to call it people, but like companies, or examples, do you have some examples that you can show little Ashlie and kind of talk with her about them?
Oh, absolutely. I would say our own
Mhm.
company, Mobiles, when we first founded it, is,
Mhm.
a living, breathing example that I was in. And I was not the CEO that time around, and I was able to witness our CEO's journey very close and upfront. And
Mhm.
I would say that he had a very healthy attitude toward. He had a very strong belief of self.
Mm.
And it's interesting, because his go-to expression was, "There's always a way out. It doesn't matter how hard this feels or what's coming into our world. There's always a way out." And he was
Mm.
just unfazed by whatever came into. He's like, "It's okay.
Amazing.
Everything is going to be fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We will figure it out." And so I think I can draw more on that experience.
Yeah. I love that. So I can't remember if when we were coaching previously, if I had you do this or not, but I would create a board of advisors on mine. It's literally, did we do that? Just like an
Oh,
index
we did.
card with your
Yep.
board of, so it's super fancy. Mine is on an index card, and I wrote out some names, and it was, these
Love
are
it.
the people I want them as my board of advisors as I lead and grow this. I don't need to know them personally necessarily. Some of them I did. I think it's 8. I don't usually recommend more than 8. I'd say like 6 to 8 max. Um, they can be people you know personally. They don't have to. They can be alive or dead, but it's people who you want to emulate their approach, their decision-making process, how they lead. And so looking at them as like, these are my board of advisors. And anytime I find myself needing to make a decision, anytime I find myself stuck somewhere, anytime I find myself maybe going back into an old pattern or habit, like what would so and so do? Like what would, the guy you're just talking about do, or what would so and so do, and how would they approach this? And let me try that on for
Yeah.
size, because you're going to get to really stretch and grow yourself personally through this process too. It happens to all of us, right? As founders. So,
I
and
love
then
that.
yeah. And then the other thing I would really look at is, what did 9-year-old Ashlie need that she didn't get at the time, that where she could just like relax and just be a little girl? What did she need?
Just that reassurance that she was safe and everything was going to be okay,
Mm. Mm.
that mistakes were going to be made, and that was how she was going to learn, and that
Mm.
everyone was still going to love her.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So really spending are you doing a lot of like inner child time right now? Are you spending a lot of
Yeah.
time with, okay, good, good. So just communicating that with her, right? And I, I don't know how much fun she had growing up, or if she didn't feel like she got to have enough fun too, but like,
Yeah.
what did she love to do for fun?
She didn't really do much for fun. I think
Yeah.
from a very young age, it was a lot about the responsibilities and the work that needed, and the caring for others.
Mm.
So it wasn't, I don't think little Ashlie ever even got to think about what she enjoyed doing, or
Sure.
indulge those things.
Sure.
Um,
So close your eyes and I want you to just see sweet 9-year-old little Ashlie right now. And just so much love for her, so much compassion for this incredible little girl who felt responsible for everyone around her. And she wanted to have fun. She didn't get to necessarily, but she wanted to have fun. What would have been really fun for her to do? Or what does she want to do now to have fun?
she loves to sing,
Hmm.
to run,
Mhm.
just be outside.
Ah, beautiful. So can you, I know it's a little late where you are. I don't know if you can do this
Sorry, it's gotten
tonight or
very
first
dark.
thing in the morning.
Very
Oh
dark on
no,
me. I'm
it's
so sorry about
the
that.
light is great. No, I'm just thinking about timing for what I'm going to have you do. But this is, so what I would love for you to do is either tonight or first thing tomorrow, can you go outside and just, it's like a play date between you and little Ashlie and just have fun and sing. Well, you take her singing outside, singing in the garden, right? And just letting her be a little girl and let her, like, if she hits a note that's not perfect, like, it's okay, girl. I'm so glad you did. Like, let it out.
Love that.
Just letting her have so much fun and really playing with, I would write down the thoughts, like the specific thoughts that show up around perfectionism and the specific thoughts that show up around like, I can't make mistakes or yada, yada. And then we want to start rewiring some neural pathways there. So are you actively writing down limiting beliefs as they show up?
Yes.
Okay,
That is a practice that I have retained.
beautiful. So do you have some new ones that you're instilling right now around making mistakes and what progress really looks like and all of that? Or do you want to work on some together?
Yeah, let's work on some together. Let's get some
Okay.
fresh ones.
Okay, awesome. So and again, thank you for demonstrating this because everyone has this. It's just most people aren't even aware of it. So like you're really helping a lot of people with this. So what's like, give me one specific thought that shows up around it not being okay to make a mistake.
People are going to stop liking me.
Oh, okay. Stop liking me if I make a mistake.
Hmm.
Okay, great.
And
So yeah.
maybe like isn't the respecting me. They're going to
Mm,
stop respecting me.
okay, great. People are going to stop respecting me if I make a mistake. Okay. And this is where I love that you're writing these down and you're consciously aware of this. This is where I would say for everyone listening, you want to know these thoughts. Like you want to actually, I have mine written down on a spreadsheet on my computer. It's like super sexy, but it's like the index card, right?
I love
Basic
a
stuff
spreadsheet.
works
See you later.
because you want to know them when they show up. Otherwise, these things just slip by and you keep programming your brain this way. So people are going to stop respecting me if I make a mistake is the limiting belief. So we want to write that down. We want to know what that is. Now we want to investigate, is that actually true? So I'm just going to ask you, is it actually true that if you make a mistake, people will no longer respect you?
No.
Why? Why not?
I think it all comes down to how you handle the making of said mistake. And if you are open and honest about making the mistake and then learn from it and put things into motion versus attempting to cover up or make excuses or pretend that the mistake didn't happen. So I think it's less about the mistake and more about what you do with the mistake. And I think people have a lot of time and a lot of admiration for folks who are willing to admit their own mistakes and share that learning with other people.
Okay, beautiful. So we want to, when we're debunking a limiting belief, and we always know it's a limiting belief because we feel bad, we have a negative emotional charge when we think the thought. So when we're debunking it, we want to write it down, then we want to investigate, is this actually true? So we just now, and that was spot on what you just said. And we need to also give your brain evidence that what you just said is true, because analytically you get that, but there's still a subconscious program that this is happening. So is there a time where I want to start personal first? So we're going to look for a personal example first. And if we can't find it, we're going to expand and look for an example of someone you know. Is there a time where you made a mistake and people actually respected you more because of how you handled it?
Yeah, that probably happens daily with my kids if I just let it in.
Raising my hand too. Right? Okay, so give an example.
Yeah, I responded in a way that I was not proud of in a teaching moment with my son earlier this week. And once things had calmed down, I just came back to him and was like, I owe you an apology. Like, here's how I
Mm,
wanted to show up in this moment. Here's how I actually did show up in this moment.
mm,
And here's what I'm going to commit to doing differently moving forward. And
mhm.
he was just a ball of love. Like, he wrapped me up in the biggest hug of
Oh,
all time and was just like, it's okay, mommy. I make mistakes all the time.
yeah.
It's just like, oh.
Amazing. So that beautiful example right there, I want you to take yourself to that when the brain tries to throw this story at you of people are going to stop respecting me, and literally remember this, because I don't think people respect perfect. People don't respect or trust perfect. They respect and trust real.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, like if you want respect and trust from people, which of course we all do, it's not going to be about you being perfect. There's something we don't trust with it subconsciously. It's going to be about being real. And so showing that example and just thinking about him wrapping up in your arms, right? And how much it bonded you
Yeah.
together. So we want to always give your brain evidence of what's actually true for me in my life,
Yeah.
right? And then what would be, so we want to have a new phrase that we can throw out there when that old thought pattern fires. So, I mean, I'm happy to help you think of some examples, but I want you to come up with one first. So people are going to stop respecting me if I make a mistake. What's the opposite of that? Or what's your real truth?
Relate to me for like my being open and honest about my own humanity.
Mhm, mhm. Right. I'm just taking some notes if you're typing. So being open and honest. Yep. Awesome. So I would have that one in your affirmations. You can play with things to mistakes draw me closer to my clients and my family. Like really playing with that. Like the more just real I
Yeah.
am, actually, the more money I make, the more relationships I build, the more people respect me. And then just again, showing little Ashley that evidence in your own life, and then also in stories of other founders and other really successful entrepreneurs where they screwed stuff up, but they
Yeah.
were real, they were honest, they owned it. And it's always an opportunity to grow respect if we handle it that way.
Yeah.
Right. And then so what I would do is, are you listening to affirmations daily? Are you like reading them? What's that process like for you?
Yeah. Haven't been as disciplined with that of late.
Okay. Yeah. So here's what I would do is I would write out, I want you to connect with who is the woman who leads this company to, what's your ultimate revenue goal?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to be well over 7 figures.
Well over 7 figures. Okay. So let's say multi 7 or 8 figures, right? So who is the woman who leads this company to 8 figures? And writing out a vivid, detailed description of who she is. So what's her life like? I would even like, I would write it out kind of with that 1 year vision that you just shared. So what is life like now? We've got 1 million users who have downloaded Startup Therapy. We're splitting time between the US and UK, yada, yada. What is family life like? And writing out that vivid description in present tense, like, I am so happy and grateful. This is my life. My book is published. And then really looking at who is the woman who has that reality. What are her characteristics? What are her attributes? What are her thoughts? And the way that I do mine is it's like a vivid, detailed description of my life as I want it, but embedded with affirmations, embedded with things that I'm rewiring, embedded with with emotion too, right? Because we want to, that's how we're going to convey it to the subconscious, is the emotion. And really, really like mapping that out, writing it out, recording it with emotion, and then listening to it multiple times a day to start to really rewire those neural pathways.
Yeah.
So I would do that soon, so you can start really, really stepping into that. So
Mission accepted.
I love it. I love it. And I know you'll do it. Was that helpful? Is there anything I can like go deeper in terms of that specific piece?
No, I think that really gets a great start. And what I'm hearing right now is just that reminder that it is okay to bring the same love that you have at home with your family to your professional life. And that may
I
show
love
up
that.
differently, but it's safe to do that.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Yeah. And just bringing that in and having that love for yourself, having that love for the people around you, because that's a big piece of why you're creating this, right? Is to change the culture. So you get to be the living, breathing embodiment of the change that you're creating. And it is going to take willpower. It is going to take guts. It is going to take a huge amount of self-awareness of when the old patterns show up. And it's going to take practicing acting as if. That's why I want you to get so connected first to who's the version of me who does this. And then it's practicing stepping into that identity of her and helping little Ashlie feel safe along the way. Like she's okay, she's loved, she's seen, she's adored, but she's not the one who needs to lead or drive this to the next level. So yeah, amazing. Okay, I know we've got just a few minutes, and so if there's any other quick coaching question, we can probably do 1 or 2 minutes, but I want to make sure we also have time for you to tell people where to connect with you and how they can get involved. So is there anything else coaching wise that you'd like some support around?
No, I think that really does get me started on this next phase. You know, um it's always a pleasure working with you, because going through each integration brings up and each initiation brings up its own a new level of things you thought you had healed already.
Every single time. And people think like, I thought I had dealt with this. And
I
it's
thought
like,
I was so over this.
yeah, but I think, again, I so appreciate that you brought this one up, because sometimes people get concerned, like, why is imposter syndrome showing up right now? Why am I like going back into old habits? And it's literally, you're just on the verge of your next level. That's
Yeah.
it. Because we always heal to the level of our consciousness, right? So there's a whole new level of consciousness expanding. So now you get to work on that piece, and you're going to raise up to a whole new level in your life. And really, like, you get to be the woman who leads this company so powerfully now. So it's a great thing. It doesn't always feel great in the moment, but it's a great sign that there's so much growth happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Oh, well, that was really, really beautiful. So,
Thank
okay, Ashlie, tell everyone, where can they connect with you? What's the best way to get in touch if they want to talk with you about what you're doing? Tell them how they can find out about
you.
startup
Yeah,
therapy. Let's give them all
absolutely.
the things.
So if you visit www.humanestartup.com and join our newsletter, you'll be the first to know when Startup Therapy has cleared all approvals through the Apple and Google Play stores and is available for download. And you can also book a free 30-minute consultation with me through the website as well. Or, you can certainly connect with us through all of the social channels. We're just Humane Startup on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Find me on your favorite channel.
Brand consistency is a good thing. So yeah. Well, I'm just so excited for what you're doing. And it's been such an honor to see your journey over the past like year and a half now, like really of what you're creating and the moves that you've made to get really uncomfortable to launch this. Like, I know there's been a lot of that, and it's going to pay off for you and for so many lives and souls who you're going to touch. So just want to acknowledge you for that and for the powerful work you're doing in the world.
Well, thank you so much, Elise. It's been really profound working with you, and I look forward to sort of my own form of supervision as I as I continue to navigate this journey.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I'm so excited for your journey. And for everyone listening, go connect with Ashlie. I think it's a beautiful opportunity to book that consult and to have a call with her. I can just tell you from having known her for years and being able to work behind the scenes with her too. Like her heart is so pure and she genuinely wants the best for everyone she connects with. And so it's a really, really beautiful opportunity. And then definitely connect with Ashlie and with Humane Startup on social as well. So amazing episode, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Talk
Bye.
to you soon. And to you, my listener, hey, thank you so much for listening in. Please give Ashlie some love on social, tag her, let her know what the biggest takeaway was from this episode. And I'm so grateful to have you in the She Sells community. I'll see you on our next episode.